Come join us for an action-packed trip. We're going to Fort Parker State Park in Mexia. We're also going to be driving into Waco and hitting up the Magnolia Market, seeing the silos. We're also going to drive over to the Homestead Heritage. Lots to see and do there. We're also going to have a dry run on safety measures that we need to take if we're ever camping out by the water and it starts to flood. We're going to show you some of the preparedness items that we purchased, as well as taking in all the historical information in this town. Lots to see, lots to do, and lots to learn. So let's get started, shall we? We stayed in Site 21. Right off the bat, we noticed that our camping spot was probably one of the most lopsided sites we've ever stayed at. We spent so much time trying to get this leveled. The chalks were sliding right off of these mats, so then Corey decided to put the boards underneath them, and that ended up helping a lot. It was far from perfectly level. Gonna have to be a little cockeyed this weekend. After all that stress of trying to park our camper and then unpacking, the sun was starting to set, so we decided to decompress a little bit and go for a walk. This was the spot that was right next to us. I believe this is kind of more for tent campers. There were two families that stayed there during our time period that we were there. And if you just walk down a few more steps, there was the dock, but sadly it was under construction during our stay. Next to the fishing pier, there is a fish cleaning station, and then if you turn around, you've got the bathhouses and bathrooms right there. Thankfully, the rain didn't catch us this time, but there's always tomorrow. In the meantime, we watched a gorgeous sunset and goofed off a lot. The next morning, we drove into Waco. It was about an hour drive, and the first stop we had to make was to the Magnolia Press, which is their coffee shop, and it's got a lot of little souvenirs you can buy. Real cute little hangout for the Baylor crowd. The Magnolia Market and the Silos area is a very popular tourist destination in Waco. So if you're ever in the area, you have to stop by. It's very cute, very aesthetically pleasing. I got an apple cider on ice with some kind of salted caramel, and Yum. This is a pear refresher with lime. I also got Chloe a little souvenir. She's in her barista era, so I got some of their famous 1905 syrup for coffee, marshmallow vanilla caramel. It did end up raining late last night after all, so it was pretty wet outside. There was no real place to sit down, so we just kept on moving down to the Silos Bakery. There were lots of souvenirs in there too, and I like how they give you a menu at the door so you can pick out what you want. And that keeps the line moving. Then we found this neat little guest book for everybody who comes to the area to sign. After we got our cupcakes, we found Corey and Hazel just sitting outside by the silos. Well, they did the typical upcharge where I got two cupcakes, Olivia got one, and they're like, if you get one more, you get it half off. So I'm like, I don't really want it, but okay. So we got the chocolatier, that's that chocolate one obviously, strawberry and cream. What's it called? Campfire. So it's basically a s'mores. And then the lemon lavender. I like how they have all these covered picnic tables to keep the heat and the rain off. Conveniently located right next to a food truck park, which was closed because it was still really early in the morning. And they have so many beautiful flowers and a neat little herb garden. This is definitely a Pinterest-worthy area. I like how they have these water stations here so you can refill your water bottle or your pet's water dish, and there's plenty of room for you, your children, and your pets to frolic. As I mentioned before, we were there super early, so a lot of stores weren't open, but that's okay. I'm not a very big shopper anyway, and I was more anxious to get over to the Homestead Heritage area. That's more my speed and my cup of tea. Visiting Homestead Heritage is like stepping back in time. It is a community that believes in a simple way of life, and it's very similar. I would compare them to the Amish way of living. They make a lot of their own things. They're very talented. They make their own food. They have their own farm. Now we're in their quilt store because I'm obsessed with quilting. As you can see, they also carry materials to make your own clothing and your own aprons. But just visiting the different stores in this village and you see them showcasing all their talents, it is just one of those places that I will definitely go back again. Next to the quilting store is the general store, and I was just so impressed by the cute little porch that they had and this little game of Connect Four, I believe, and they had little wind chimes. This place is a one-stop shop for all your souvenir needs, all your homesteading needs. They have books on gardening, they have coffees, they have popcorn and the different uh, salts that go with them, the different seasonings that you can put on it. And I had to do a double take for a second because Corey brought to my attention that there were these two cats in the store that were playing with each other. The one in the basket looks just like our cat B, and they were just having a good old time. They had an endless array of puzzles, purses, they had a lot of candles, body products, lotion, soaps, and of course they had baby chickens. After we left the general store, we drove around the property a little bit. There's so much to see and do. They have a couple of different restaurants on the premises, and we were just taking it all in. It's really cool to think that these people just live in this community and everything that they could possibly need is here. We were somewhat limited on time, so we didn't have a chance to hit all the stores. I know that they had a chocolate store, a basket weaving store, but we decided to just kind of walk around the grounds a little bit and see what we came across. This shop was really neat. It had glass art, and they also taught glass classes, and then right next door was a leather store, and we're just kind of moving along quickly because, like I said, we're pressed for time. This was a store where you could take like wood shop and do different potteries and things like that. Super cool. I could easily spend the day here and attend some of the classes they offer. There are also many picnic tables for you to eat lunch with your family and your four-legged family members, because I do believe that the restaurant on the property is not dog friendly, but here is one of the places where they make furniture. Here we are driving past the Homestead Heritage Cafe. I've heard great things about it, and we are just going to go ahead and drive to this little indoor flea market. Here is their church. There were horses everywhere, and people were practicing their roping skills. We went inside the indoor flea market, and it was a sight to behold. And I made a beeline to the crochet stuff. That's what I'm obsessed with. And they also had some essential oils. They had fresh bread and an indoor playground that I thought was really cool. Olivia wanted to go check out the knives because she collects knives. These were a little bit out of our price range, but they were handmade. Here is some more crochet goodies. So I got this adorable crochet apple. I thought this was good fall decor, and a little crochet pumpkin. I could not resist getting a couple of little chicks. I have a lot of smoked salt, so when I saw the smoked pepper, I had to have it. These are not your chew toy. I'll give you one of them. Which one do you want? You want the orange one? You want the brown one? The brown one is like your color. So I'll pick this one. Next stop is the cheese shop, my favorite part of the trip. This is their old building that they were using, and you walk down this path just a little ways, and they'll take you right to the current location. And they have all kinds of crackers, jams, jellies. They've got packets of beer cheese, different things you can mix. Everything you could think of for a charcuterie board, you can find here. They were also passing out samples of their cheese, which I thought was really good, but it was a little bit on the pricey side. After we left the cheese shop, we could not resist going into the cheese cave. You go down these steps into this little dungeon area. It's super cold down there. It feels great, and you get to see all the cheeses. They were closed today, but it was still a neat sight to see. After all that walking around, we were getting super hungry, so we went to the Salty Dog to get a little bite to eat. I'll be honest, it was college football day. There were lots of games on, a lot of fans screaming. Couldn't hear ourselves think. And so I forgot to film the food we got, but it's really good, and I think I talk about it a little later in the video. Y'all better get over here before it starts raining. You better seek shelter. Looks like we got home just in time. It rained for the rest of the evening and into the morning hours. It was literally like a strobe light was going off all night.
Yes, this needs a little adjusting as well.
So it's another wet morning and we can't really go outside right now. So we decided we're going to declutter and kind of get the inside of our camper organized. And before we do that, we wanted to take a moment to show you some things that we purchased for our camper in light of what happened on July 4th in the hill country. And our hearts go out to everybody that lost a loved one. That was such a traumatic event for Texas and the rest of the country. But it did kind of shed some light on some things that we never really thought about, and going forward when we go camping and we're staying close to the water's edge like we are right now, we just want to make sure that we're prepared. Now going forward, I guess we'll look for flood zones and look for escape routes. We need to pay attention to the weather. Keep your phones on, even though a lot of places, especially in the hill country, have really bad signal. You got a ham radio, right? Or you got some kind of radio?
Well, I got a CB radio that has a weather channel and stuff.
Okay, so no matter what remote location we're in, we can still...
It should work pretty much anywhere, yeah.
Does it just give the weather, or can you communicate with other people?
You can communicate back and forth.
You want to make sure that you have a life jacket for every member of your family. See, that's one thing we didn't have on our camper, because when we go camping, we don't really swim that much, especially when we camp during the fall and winter months. It's good to have something for every pet in your family. So we got a life jacket for each of the babies. Oh, are these to keep your phone dry?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's why they got a little picture of a phone.
Oh, babe, I just woke up and only got about 30 minutes sleep. Dry bags. I got one for myself. One for Corey. You can put a change of clothes in here. Maybe some important documents. You can put your food, your water bottles, your pet food. They come in different sizes. I guess I ordered the biggest one.
Well, this is good, though, because we had one when we used to cruise, and it was a little bit smaller.
You can just put all your dry clothes, your car keys, and all those things in there.
The headlights with the strap on them. I think it's important to have something like that. No matter, even if you didn't have bad weather, you should always carry something like that on your camper.
Yeah, I think those will come in handy during some of the hurricanes where we've lost power.
And then here's I think it's a 50-foot anchor line. You know, you could use that, you know, regularly as well, whether you're floating down the river and you just want to stop. Or,
sorry, that's reminding me of the time that Corey anchored Olivia and I to a tree at the river. It didn't feel like there was much of a current. I was like, let's just kind of untie ourselves and let's just float around a little bit. We won't go far. Next thing you know, we are clear. How many miles down the river?
It was only like 6 or 7 miles, but it was 2
felt
hours
like
before I could get him.
He was tracking our phones forever,
yeah.
And he was trying to get me to describe what was around me, and I was like, I don't know, there's like a bunch of trees. So every time I see a rope, that reminds me of that. But this is sad, but one of the things that I heard so many people say after the flooding in the hill country was how people were calling for other people, like, please help, and they couldn't reach them. The current was too strong. I did see a rescue of that girl where people made a human chain in the water, and, they had a rope for her to climb out.
Megaphone, it does the siren or voice. You can talk through it. So, again, this is something, You know, if you're lost or something, maybe you need that.
I got this because you never want to be the boy or girl who cried wolf in your campsite, but so many people said they were trying to go knock on every camper door and wake people up, and a lot of people were reluctant because they didn't know, is it going to rise? Don't want to wake someone up in the middle of the night. Figured with this, if time was of the essence and you had to just go out there and just start yelling or making a siren noise, then I thought this was good.
A lot of people have these for your car, or you bust out your windshield, cut your seat belt, but we thought we should have one for the camper just in case we get trapped in somehow and bust the window out. They do have emergency exits in campers, but you never know. It's always good to have it.
Yeah, we got one for all the members of our family too, for the girls to put in their car in case you're ever in a situation where the water's rising real fast. And we need to not just have these, but be shown how to use these. So that's also part of the preparedness, is learning how to use the things that we're buying.
Electronic flare. It does say it can be seen 6 miles up in the air. Or, you know, if we break down or something, maybe you want to just deploy this flare too.
Just had all those people in my mind, and there were people that were clinging onto trees, debris piled on top of people, and I just thought, if we carried something like this in our dry bag or something, and we could just shoot these electronic flares up in the air just to give any rescuers some kind of idea on where we are.
It's a fireproof bag for documents. I think this will be more used when we go full time. We'll put birth certificates and stuff like that in here just in case something drastic happens.
One more thing I just remembered. Yesterday, we forgot to give you a review or even show our food that we ordered at the Salty Dog. It was game day. There were a lot of college games on. You really couldn't hear much anyway, and it was just real crowded and busy. And I was starving, so I just started diving in without showing my food. But I got chicken fried steak. It was good. I wolfed it down. And then I got a side of broccoli cheddar casserole, which was pretty good. It needed a little bit of doctoring up with some salt and pepper, but after I did that, that was good. The okra was great.
I got the fish and chips. It was catfish. It was really good flavor. And they come with fries and hush puppies. I'm not a big fry person, but these were like twice fried fries or something. They were crispy and really good. And then their coleslaw was really good. I'm not sure what they seasoned it with, but the seasoning on the fish and the coleslaw, it was real good.
Once again, I'm either cutting your head off when we film, or but you're the one sitting way over there because we got dogs. We got dogs in front of us. I got Hazel, and then Waldo's in the middle. He did not sleep. He is so scared of the rain. But I just realized as we're filming and you're talking, and I'm looking in the camera, you can see into our bedroom, but you're like half your body is cut off.
I'm used to it.
The weather finally cleared up, so let's get the sticker on the camper, and we're going to do a park tour of Fort Parker State Park. This is a small park. It's on the banks of the Navasota, and it's very small, but it's packed with a whole lot of history. I'll be honest and say I have never in my life been to a state park that had a cemetery in it, but sure enough, this one does, and there's a lot of history behind it as well. You may not see very many stone markers because of the primitive frontier living conditions. Across the street, we have the dump station. Here is the boat launch and the canoe launch, and as you can see, you can rent canoes right here. Next, we're going to drive through the shelter and cabin area. This is the area that's on that elevated hill above our campsite, and the main difference between the cabin and the shelter is the shelter does not have one of those window AC units, and if you just go to the end of the loop, there's a couple of little cabins that are tucked away with lots of shade and plenty of privacy. As you can see, there's a window unit right there, so that's one of the cabins. There's Off-Grid Greta. We're going to skip our loop right now. We're going to do that last. We're going to keep on going to the day use area. Looks like the skies are about to open up again and pour. I was surprised how many people were still out in the day use area swimming. But hey, You do you, boo-boo. This area reminds me a lot of Livingston State Park. There's that part of it that's kind of like a peninsula. It's got water on three sides. There's only one camping loop at Fort Parker State Park, and it is a tight squeeze when the place is full. As you can see, we're slowly trying to go around that truck there. But if you've got a big rig, you might struggle a few minutes trying to get around that curve. But it's a 30 amp hookup. It's $20 a night at the time of this video. They've got picnic tables and a fire ring. They've got nearby restrooms and showers. And they also have some campsites that are for tents that have water or electric. As you probably figured out by how much trouble we were having leveling our camper, this is on a hill. So if you look up to the top of the hill, that's kind of where the cabins are. And then you also have some RV spots here to your right. We were on the left on the water, and we had one of the pull-through sites. But it is a quaint little area. And then as you drive to the end of the loop, it's got like a little cul-de-sac that has a couple of RV sites that are tucked away with lots of trees, lots of privacy, and lots of room to roam. And this will show you how easy I am to please, but I was just fascinated by this large growth on this tree for some reason. I stared at it all weekend. Now it's time to go check out Jim's Crispy Fried Chicken. I've heard rave reviews about this place. From what I understand, Anna Nicole Smith used to work here when she was a teenager. They run a tight ship and a really smooth operation. Lots of people in line. They give you a little pager to let you know when your food is ready. Do you love my dashboard ornament? I thought that Jim's Crispy Chicken was pet friendly. Somebody told me that online. Come here, Waldo. I don't think it is pet friendly. I don't really see an outdoor patio, and even if I did, it's rained for like 12 hours straight. So we're just gonna get the chicken and take it back to the campsite. There is a person here, Cindy Walker, and she's no longer alive, but she grew up in Mexia, and her house is nearby. I think it's closed permanently. She's written music for Willie Nelson, for Roy Orbison, Michael Bublé, Ray Charles, even Johnny Cash named his child after her. We'll go check out her house in just a few minutes. It sure is a modest looking home, and it looks like it has a lot of potential, but it was looking run down when we saw it.
$8 for that basket of shrimp. I think yours was about the same price. 3 rolls, 4 chicken legs, corn, green beans.
I wasn't feeling mashed potatoes today. So
corn smells good.
Some honey. Waldo, you want some chicken? No, you want the rolls. You're a little bread guy. My little yeasty boy. Those are gizzards?
Ooh, chicken gizzards.
Yuck.
Enough for dinner, and I haven't even eaten my my Bucky sandwich.
So the shrimp is good?
Mm-hmm.
So you ordered a 4-piece of gizzards, and they gave you, what is that, about 10
about
or something?
10. Gizzards is good.
Olivia gave me half of her mashed potatoes. So I just got 3 chicken legs, and these must be good because I saw people chowing down in the parking lot in their car.
Good stuff.
That's good crispy chicken. Watching them eat is so cute.
Yeah, we chew that one. Can't beat it for the price. We paid $35 for. You saw all the gizzards I got, the shrimp, 4 legs, a bunch of sides. Their teas, large tea, it's $1.49. You're not gonna get that anywhere. Coleslaw is really good. Second time in a row I've had coleslaw this trip, so I haven't had coleslaw in like a year.
Everybody's throwing food at me. The okra is super, super good. Green beans and corn are obviously canned, but they're really good. The mashed potatoes are instant, but I prefer instant over homemade. Hush puppies are to die for.
I agree. Hush puppies are really good.
I usually like to put malt vinegar on it if I get them at Long John Silver's, but they're real good by themselves. So 2 greasy thumbs up. After lunch, we went to the old Fort Parker historical site. This is how Fort Parker State Park got its name. And there's an interesting story behind this. A family settled here from Illinois. They were going to start a Baptist church, and they were invaded by a Comanche tribe who killed a lot of the members, and then they took a couple of the kids and raised them as their own. You may know Cynthia Parker. They raised her as an Indian, and it's just a fascinating story. She actually grew up and had children with the Comanche leader, and Quanah Parker is the name of one of her sons. There is a lot of historical information on him. We didn't visit the fort today because pets aren't allowed, but we'll catch it the next time. Next, we drove over to the Confederate Reunion Grounds State Historic Site. That's a mouthful. It's on the edge of the Navasota River, and it was a place where Confederate Civil War veterans and their families reunited, and it remains a gathering place for events and family reunions. The Delight House was the social hub of the reunion grounds. This is where everybody gathered for lavish parties. The remains of 4 stairways indicating the entries to the house are still visible on this site. There's a decorative bridge that was once supported by the cluster of stones to the left of the foundation. And I noticed behind the house there is a trailhead. When I have more time, I'd love to come back and explore it. This next thing is called the Colonel Spring. It's a water source, and it's a spring that's on the southeastern bank of Jack's Creek, and it's one of the reasons that people have been drawn to the site for hundreds of years. It provides a continuous supply of water flowing into the creek even during summer's driest months. Mexia is rich in oil supplies, and they had the oil derricks all over these Confederate grounds. Here is a map of the Limestone Bluffs paddling trail. In order to maintain a water supply for the oil fields and to provide recreational areas at the reunion grounds, they created a community bathhouse. This looks like it was happening back in the day. Look how much the rapids are raging from all that rain, I guess. I don't know, maybe it's like this all the time. You can just step right on down into the river here if you want to. Quite a strong current down there. And it looks like there's steps on the other side as well. Wow, this is really neat.
In 1920, so 100 years ago, you'd think it'd still be here, but it was demolished by a severe flood.
Why is it fireplaces always remain standing? Can't they build the house out of the same material?
Well, some they did.
There were once several pavilions on the grounds, and they used to use these for the veterans to have their business meetings and exhibition of war relics. The dance pavilion has been modified and repaired several times throughout its history. Restoration for the building began in 1966, and it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1976. Old Val Verde was a Union cannon that was captured by the Confederate forces during the Battle of Val Verde in the American Civil War. The cannon, along with other captured artillery, was associated with the Val Verde Battery, and eventually Old Val Verde was displayed at this site here in Mexia. At first I thought these bricks had the names of fallen soldiers, but it was just part of some sponsorship program. The cannon served as a symbol of the Confederate victory and was a point of pride for veterans. This is completely unrelated, but there is a playground on site in case your kids get bored. Here we have the flags of the Civil War. In 2015, 2 of the Confederate battle flags were removed. This was at a time of political unrest. I forgot to do an outro. I hope that you enjoyed this video and got something out of it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Happy camping, everyone. Bye.